Welcome to Anaghomaths. We're going to look at some techniques to help you remember some key topics in GCSE mathematics. So it's very, very important to remember the key terms, and I'm going to use mind mapping. So some of you may have heard of it before. Mind mapping helps you remember the key things. For example, number one, things to do with circle theorems, things to do with constructions, things to do with solving simultaneous equations. So let's jump right into it and start to see how we can use mind mapping. So these are the key areas I want us to focus on. Construction and loci. If you speak Latin, you can call it loci, or the C and the I, you pronounce it is silenced, loci. Circle theorem, bearings, simultaneous equations, and iterations. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 things there to concentrate on and look at a quick summary to help us remember them, the key things in them. The locus of points that are a given distance d from a point. So if you have a point in the middle there, the locus is that circle. So you get your compass, you would open it to the radius of the circle, and then you draw the circle. So that d represents distance from the point. And then the second one, the locus of points within a given distance d of a line. That distance d from that line is the same all around. And your compass will draw that semicircle there, and you draw a semicircle there. The locus of points equidistant between 2 points. If those 2 points, A and B, equal distance from A and B, you're bisecting it. And you bisect them in the middle there. And I'll show you all the lines. And then the locus of points equidistant from between 2 lines. The next one, you bisect the angle. Divide the angle into 2, bisect the angle. That could be 30, that could be 30. And then the last one, the points equivalent equal distances from the rectangle. That distance is D and D. So let me show you when you bisect those lines, when you bisect a line and you bisect an angle, what they want you to put in an example. So when you bisect an angle, those are the construction lines they want to see. They want to see this arc. They want to see this arc. And then you put the compass there. They want to see that arc and that arc. And then you join them. You put a straight line across the middle like that. So the top angle could be 30, the bottom angle could be 30. So you've bisected the angle. So the angle is equal distance from QP, and that's an equal distance from QP and QR. And when you bisect a line perpendicular bisector such that this angle in the middle is 90 degrees there, and that could be point A, point B. So those are the construction lines which you would draw a straight line. That's what they like to see in the exam paper. For circle theorems, try and use the pictures to help you. Look at those yellow angles. This angle on the outside there, the angle between a chord and a tangent. The angle between that chord and this tangent in this segment is equal to the angle over in the other segment. And the other one, the angle at the center is double the one at the circumference. The center is double the one at the circumference. And you need to know how to prove this one. The next one, angle in the same segment. So if I put a line like that, there's this bottom segment and the top one. These two angles in the bigger segment are the same. If I put a line like that, the bottom segment, the minor segment, the angles in the top segment are the same. And then this next one, angle in a semicircle. That's the diameter. So this angle will always be 90 degrees. Angle in a semicircle is 90 degrees. This comes for calculation. Look at the circumference. The circumference, these two angles opposite, they add up to 180 degrees. And the two angles opposite add up to 180 degrees. And they call it cyclic. Quadrilateral means 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's inside a circle. And the next one, which you need to be familiar with, radius and tangent, when they meet, the angle is 90 degrees. Radius, tangent, angle is 90 degrees. So it's important to understand these circle theorems. And when they ask you questions on circle theorems, make sure you write down these words as your reason. They say give reason for your answer. Try to write down these words exactly. If possible, memorize them. Don't explain them. That takes away some of the content properly. Try to just memorize some of these, and it makes your life easier. So we look at construction and loci or loci. We look at circle theorem. Let's go to bearings. So bearings are angles measured clockwise from the north. So you always start from the north and you measure the angles clockwise from the north. So bearings are given in 3 figures, like 060 degrees, 150 degrees. And so for example, the diagram shows 3 points, A, B, and P. The angles are measured clockwise from the north. So from the north, the bearing of A from P means you start from P. You start from the second letter. When it says from, that's where you start. Remember that. From P, that means you start at P and measure the angle clockwise. When you measure it clockwise, it's 45 degrees. And then the bearing of B from P, you go clockwise, the bearing of B is that angle there, 260 degrees. And you can use other things to work out. If it has to do with a triangle, you can use SOHCAHTOA to work out angles. You can use other different types of rules, like sine rule, cosine rule, to work out lengths and angles. So solving simultaneous equations. You can solve these two equations. The first one is equation 1, equation 2. You can solve them by drawing the graph. The green one with the negative gradient, and then the other one is the blue one. And where they meet is the answer. And that is what it means by solving simultaneous equations. What does solve means? Where the two lines meet, the green line and the blue line. Where do they meet? They meet at 1, 5. So your answer is 1 and 5. So if they say solve a simultaneous equations, you can draw a graph and you get the answer. But it takes long to draw the graph. So we use algebraic method to do it. But you can do it like this in a graph. Another simultaneous equation, you have a line there, a linear equation, the green line and the quadratic graph. So the quadratic graph is a U shape. It will come in the form of, it could be, say, let's say 4x squared plus 6x plus 5. And the line could be 2x plus 7. So they give you the line and the curve. You want to solve them. You can draw them and you can see where they meet. Where do they meet? They meet there. You have a value for x and the value for y. And they also meet there. You have x and y. But there's no time to draw them in an exam, so we use algebraic method. Algebraic method is using algebra to solve it. So you will normally take, the algebraic method we use is, you will take this y and you will place it there, and then you only have things in x, and then you will solve it. And you can use your calculator to factorize at the end and solve it. So what does it mean solving a quadratic equation with a linear equation simultaneously? Is to find where they meet. And this one meet at two places. So there'll be two pairs of answers. The answers will be the first answer for X, the next answer for Y, and the next answer for X, and the next answer for Y. That's how you will get your answers at the end. So to solve a line and a circle when they meet, there will be two sets of answers when they meet in two places. So you got the first answer for X, this next answer. And let's say that's the equation of your circle, and that's the equation of your line. So you normally take the equation of the line, replace Y in the circle, and then you will solve it to get the two. So this is equation of a line, green one, and a U-shaped quadratic curve. So where do they meet? We can look exactly, they meet at that point there. 2, 4. So your answers will be X equals to 2, Y equals to 4. And they meet here. The next point will be X equals to -1, Y equals to 1. And those are your answers. If you draw the graph neatly, you can get the answers without doing algebraic solving of an equation. So that's how we do that type. So put some of these ideas in your mind map, and it will help you now to remember the key things for construction and loci, or loci if you speak Latin, and circle theorem. Think of those pictures, bearings, it's the angles, and then simultaneous equation, and then iteration. The iterative process, I'll put some explanation for it, but this is like what you put on the computer. So you start by rearranging an equation to get an iterative formula. Let's say your iterative formula is xn plus 1 is equals to xn plus 2 squared. You start by putting an initial number. Let's say the number is x0 is equals to 2. So you put 2 in there, and then you get the answer. You take the answer, put it back, you get the next answer, you repeat the process until when your answers are the same to say 3 decimal places, and then you stop. And then that's when you stop. So this is an iterative process which you do on the computer. You don't need to really write this down, you just need to know how to do it. Rearrange the equation, put in the first number, put in the second number. Sometimes they rearrange it and give to you. You just put in the first number, get the answer, put the next number, get the answer. This is a question that I've done in class before with students. The first thing is substitute that 0 there, substitute the 0. If the answer is negative, you write it down negative. You substitute 1 for X, substitute 1 for X. If the answer is positive, you write positive. Because it has changed from negative to positive, there is a solution between them. That means the graph has gone through the x-axis. It's gone from negative to positive. It must have passed through the x-axis. Now, this is an iteration formula that has been given. So you rearrange it. You look at it, which of the x do you make the subject? You make this x, is x cubed plus 5x minus 4. So what you want to do is you take 4 to the right-hand side, and then you divide all through by x, divide by x, divide by x, divide by x. And then after that, you will swap x squared plus 5 with x. That becomes 4 over x squared plus 5. And that's your iterative formula, which you have started. And with that iterative formula, they say start, they always tell you where to start. You start with 0. So you put 0, and you get the first answer. You take that answer 8, you put it next, you get the next answer. And you carry on, they'll tell you when to stop. So I hope all of this helps you with preparing for your exams, learning simultaneous equations, iteration, circle theorem, construction, and loci and bearings. I'm feeling very cool now. Let me go into the sauna and get some heat. Good luck with your exams.